America isn't just flirting with socialism. Some voters have fallen in love, the wrong kind of right. Voters went for candidates who promised to bring down costs with freebies. Let's talk about what this means for the midterms. And can we just talk about what it means for the state of the nation? Are we in danger here of losing our footing?
I think it's just politically, it's a huge loser. I know Mamdani won in New York City, and you can get these crazy cities, okay, and you might get socialist candidates. But when you look at the whole country's map, it is an absolute loser. I mean, Mamdani becomes a poster child for far-left politics. Crockett in Texas, she's going to run for Senate or something. She becomes a poster. It's craziness when they start talking about taking over companies and everything is for free and taxing rich people. This country doesn't want socialism. It's never wanted socialism. There's always been pockets of it, silly pockets of it, but really Trumpism, which is an open, free economy, business should flourish, build factories. Trumpism is going to clobber all these little blue state or blue city socialists. That's my take.
I agree. I think at some point, you know, I mean, look, America ultimately gets it right after you try everything else, right? I mean, I think certain people, groups, young people, they don't really understand what socialism is. Others understand that we've tried these experiments before and they've failed. So I think at the end of the day, socialism will be tried, it will fail, and they will try a different approach. Yeah. But we'll have to go through the experience and the experiment.
They'll grow up. They'll grow up.
They'll have to grow up.
Those kind of ideas never change, right? They fade away and then they come back with a flourish. But I will say what's unique about this or interesting about it, Mamdani, is who voted for him. You know, the people who are the best positioned to be the most well-off people in America, college grads who live in New York City, who were wooed there by the best companies in America.
I don't think they lived in New York City for very long. No, there's a rule that you can actually come to New York City and say you've lived here for a long time. If you lived here 30 days, you're allowed to vote. 30 days, right. Charles.
Well, to your point,
I don't think they're long-term New Yorkers.
People who lived in New York more than 10 years overwhelmingly did not vote for Mamdani. But my point is that these are folks that you would think, okay, these are educated folks. They're going to end up leading companies. They're going to end up being CEOs. He's wooing those kind of people. Why? It's worth asking. I don't disagree about the ultimate failure, but I do not want to be so arrogant that or cocky about this that, hey, wake up one day and the next president is AOC. I want to find out why this is happening right now.
It is important, I agree. The messaging and communication parts are very important. The virtues of capitalism, the job creation, and the wage and income creation. That's also the ability, okay, the ability to be an entrepreneur, right? You can fail 5 times, you keep picking yourself up, and the 6th time or the 8th time, and you hit it, and you become a billionaire, okay? That is still, I think, very much a part of the American culture.
I agree.
And very much a part of American politics. And these crazy people, I mean, Republican Party should take advantage of it. And I believe, you know, they've just got, look, Trump is a guy who wants to build factories. I come back to that.
Yep.
Factories are so important. Socialists don't like factories, okay? Or if they do,
they'd rather China do it.
They want to run them. They want to. The state will run them.
When you're hitting on the issue of capitalism, and it built us into this incredibly prosperous, leading nation in the world. But why people maybe, or some people, are not getting that message. But I talk to people, like talking to all these people who are working with AI in the technology industry, and they go back to, I would rather live nowhere else in the world because of the innovation that is enabled in the United States. So
the freedom.
It's not, if you don't call it capitalism, you call it the freedom to start a business.
That's right.
The freedom to, if you build it into something that's incredible, you get to keep the fruits of that labor.
That's the key. By the way, don't, I know I keep coming back to this, and I'm a supply sider. Do not underestimate the power of very low tax rates. Very low tax rates. It's terrific. Look, Europe used to tax at 60, 70, 80%. Some of those countries still do. Nobody wants to be there. They don't have any technology companies, okay? They want to tax our technology companies, but they don't have any. But here, right, you get rewarded for your effort.
Well,
okay?
finally, Silicon Valley is getting it.
You tax something less, you get more of it. That's the American dream
Well,
for
for the
business.
longest time, these Silicon Valley titans were all globalists, and they were not necessarily thinking the way you are, but now they are wrapping themselves in the American flag.
It's amazing.
And you go to President Trump and you go to the White House, they're all over the place.
Yes.
They want to get a voice. They want to have a voice with President Trump.
And they moved to Texas.
They get it.
They
And
moved
they're
to
moving
Texas.
That's
I mean, that's the thing. They moved to Florida.
Yeah.
They moved to Texas.
Low tax states.
They're leaving New York, for heaven's sake. The stock exchange is opening up in Dallas. The stock exchange is in Miami. What is it?
JP Morgan right now, JP Morgan has more employees in Texas than it does in New York.
Right.
Jamie Dimon just told me that.
And it's because those tech gurus encountered the leftists and the socialists in the White House. Who were propping up Joe Biden.
Biden went to war with them.
Right, and said to their faces, to Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz, there are not going to be any more AI companies. There will be 2 or 3 big companies, and we are going to control them. That was a quote from Mark Andreessen.
And while you're at it, cancel all the Republicans on your sites, and they did.
Right.
Under Joe Biden.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's they're brilliant people. We've always been able to attract brilliant people because you are rewarded for the risk that you take. You can take the risk, you can find the capital, you can take the risk, and you're rewarded for it. And you know, Biden wanted to hijack that. He went to war with them, and that's how you have an epiphany when someone that you think is your friend all of a sudden is like, you know, putting a gun to your head, and all of a sudden they said, let's think clear about this, and they have made these
That's why
major
Trump,
changes.
you know, I don't know what the right number is, and I know President Trump embellishes, but whatever. If he gets $10 trillion.
Let me tell you real quick what you're saying.
If he gets
$18 trillion right now.
So 2 weeks, a couple weeks ago,
if he gets a third of it, it'll be fabulous.
A couple of weeks ago, Bloomberg they delved into the numbers, and the headline said, Trump brags about 21 trillion. We did the work. It's only 7 trillion.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think it is 7 trillion. I think it's much closer to 17 trillion.
They're coming here.
But even if it was 7, that's huge.
They're coming here.
That's funny.
That's the victory for capitalism over socialism. They're coming here because of our freedom.
Low regulation, low taxes. Europe might be quaint
and they're not
for a
coming
visit.
to New York.
Oh, here's
either.
something about this. Get this. Okay, you go to Europe right now. Do you know that the highest valuation in Europe right now is Novo Nordisk at $350 billion? The highest valuation in America, $5 trillion for NVIDIA. Why can't Europe generate a company worth $1 trillion? One word. Regulation.
Yeah.
That's it. Europe can't keep up.
I thought you were going to say socialism.
Oh, that too. But
We have 1 minute for predictions for the new year. 1 minute for the new year. Anything you want. Go.
Shock and awe. It's going to be a 5% economy with low inflation, and you're going to see a tremendous build out of factories all over the country, especially in the red states where the incentives on low taxes and regulations are best. Shock and awe. That's how I see this economy.
I agree that we will see prosperity and growth in 2026. I think we're going to have plentiful jobs in construction, in electricians, in plumbers. And I think that the country will come together as we celebrate our birthday, 250 years old.
Oh, my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Carl.
me too. It's a big thing. It's a
On
very
the
big
political
thing.
front, the GOP keeps the House. In the stock market, solar stocks will outperform for Trump like they did underperform for Biden. So I'm saying look at First Solar as a stock to make you a lot of money next year.
Larry, Maria, Charles, I'm Dagen. I'm just saying happy, happy, joy, joy in the new year. And not be in the root canal.
Growthier. Growthier.
Root canals are necessary sometimes.
No, you've come a long way. You're in a new cycle.
We will continue to go in depth every month on the issues that matter most to you right here on Fox Business.